How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Juan Romero here from SwitchWatch, and I'm back with another review. This is WRC 9 on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've played this game on other consoles, primarily the Xbox One, and having played the game already, I found the game was very good indeed, and I wanted to see what this port would be like, hence the review here. We have a straight up port, so let's get into it. We'll break it down. We'll get straight into the gameplay section. There's no story here, of course. Now, WRC 9, for those who want to know, is a rally simulation which has all of the events which were planned for the 2020 season before COVID-19 struck and ruined all of those plans. Nevertheless, fans will be happy that those events are here. First thing I want to talk about is the control scheme on the Nintendo Switch. As many of you are already aware, especially with racing games, there is a lack of analog control with the brakes and with acceleration. And unfortunately, that has a pretty big impact on this particular version of the game. It made me laugh when, on the loading screens, which are plentiful in this game unfortunately, and it says not to let go of the throttle altogether as it changes the behavior of the vehicle, thus causing you to lose control. Obviously this tip is fantastic for players on other consoles, but here it means you instantly have a disadvantage and a big problem controlling those vehicles. If you've already bought this and are experiencing these problems, then believe me, it's not your driving skills. The issue with games like this is you do need that acceleration control to finesse the vehicle through the vast array of twists and turns the courses throw at you, as this is a very technical game indeed, and that means you've got to be accurate. And well, more often than not, you'll be losing control of the car through no fault of your own, other than not having the full range of analog controls available to you. It just makes the game frustrating. There is a way around this though. I have used this on various other races that afford the option for you to assign the right analog stick as the accelerator by pushing forward and back for braking. Make sure you remove the left and right directions for control of the camera though, as otherwise you'll wonder what on earth is going on. It then becomes more of a twin stick rally game, but it's the only way I could play, otherwise it's just very, very difficult indeed and doesn't really solve the problem of using the throttle and braking at the same time, as it's one or the other. This is where the handbrake does come in rather handy. So be aware, on the Switch version this is a compromise you may have to make. If your only option is the Switch version of the game, then this is the only option really when playing in handheld especially. You may be able to get an external controller which is from a third party which has those analog triggers, but I've not been able to test if it works here. Other than that though, this is a decent enough port. The cars do control okay once you sort the control configuration out, if a little twitchy, although you can also change the sensitivity. There are various modes that you can partake in. Many will be interested though in the career mode, where you can employ a team to help you through the season, such as mechanics to repair your vehicle, agents and so on. There's also a skill tree where you can assign points to improve performance, your crew, team and all of that kind of thing, which is really good to see. Now, the management part of the game will appeal to those who like to control every aspect of their career. Ultimately though, it's how the game plays which will either draw you or not. If you prefer racing against others on track, you need a different racing game, as this will not really be for you. If you prefer just having you controlling the car against the clock, where you take on sections of tracks in nice environments such as Kenya as one of the new events, then this will be for you. But be warned, it's a massive challenge and will require hours and hours of practice and persistence. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to go off the track losing your time, which is super easy to do by the way, if you don't use analog throttling. The AI is also a little bit iffy at times. Some tracks you'll win comfortably, while others it seems like there's a demon setting those times. Of course, you can leave your times online to compete against others around the world, which adds to that competitiveness. In essence, it's a deep and satisfying rally game, and if your only option is the Switch version, then look, you are getting a decent enough time, although I would probably advise to play this in handheld mostly. I'll get on to why in a second. For those that are finding it tough, there are driving aids and you can change the difficulty to suit you. There's also a handy tutorial which will show you the ropes. Other modes include quick race and there's challenges. Also, if you just want to practice, you can. The official teams and their cars are here, so it's got that official license, which is going to satisfy many of you. Performance-wise, I'm happy to say that the game ran pretty stable most of the time at 30 frames per second, both in handheld and in docked mode, which is good news because it was pretty smooth. The visuals, though, have taken a massive hit, and it is distracting to see the pop-up and bits of landscape render while you are racing. The textures look really poor, I have to say, and the environments are lacking so much detail and colour. It's not as noticeable, though, in handheld, but boy oh boy do you notice it in docked mode on a big screen. The cars look just about passable, but everything else has been downgraded to such a degree that you can see it's the absolute minimum here. If you own a Switch Lite or you only want to play this game in handheld, then you won't notice it so much, but if you want to play in docked, then you're going to notice it. It's as simple as that. We'll move on to audio. They've done a great job. The sounds of the vehicles are great. The co-driver sounds good and clear, so you know which turns to make and when. It's all present and correct. Does the basics, and it does it well. Now, value-wise, WRC 8 and 9 are both still £44.99 in the UK and $49.99 in dollars in the US and in euros. If you already own a WRC 8, then I don't really think that WRC 9 is worth paying full price for. It just isn't enough really that's new to warrant the outlay. However, if you haven't got WRC 8 and this is your first time to the franchise possibly, and you want to buy this on the Nintendo Switch, then there's no doubt this is going to give you hours and hours of gameplay. Perfecting those tracks is not going to be easy, and as long as you persist and you enjoy it, then that's all that matters. And gameplay wise, you know, it's going to satisfy a lot of people. Before I get into my verdict, if you've enjoyed this review so far, then please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you don't miss another video. We really do appreciate it. Okay then, let's talk about that verdict. With the Switch version of WRC 9, first and foremost, the gameplay is still enjoyable if you can handle using a slightly differing control scheme. That's the only way I could really appreciate the game to its full potential. Now, WRC 9's performance on the Switch is stable at 30 frames per second, but there is a pretty noticeable downgrade in the visuals, and you know, it's not perfect. It's to be expected, and whether that bothers you or not, only you can decide, as at the end of the day, you'll be the one paying full price for it. Will it affect gameplay for you? Well, that depends. You'll probably be too busy concentrating to notice making all of those twists and turns and trying not to crash. If you have a Switch Lite or play mostly in handheld, then you will notice the deficiencies less, but on a big screen, I couldn't help but notice those bare minimum visuals and the lack of detail within the environments, as well as popping. So whether the visuals bother you or not will be personal preference. For me, a 7 out of 10, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching till the end of this video, then why don't you leave me a high five emoji down in the comments section so that I know that you've watched till the end. You're an absolute legend. I want to thank all of our members, subscribers, and you, of course, watching right now. Let me know what you think of the game down below also in the comments section. I'm going to put some videos up above now. James has a bargain series that goes live every single Sunday, letting you know all the bargains that are on the eShop, and Jordan, of course, with that wonderful physical series, letting you know all of the games that you can buy in a box every single Monday, as well as the community spotlight, which is also integrated within that video. So I'll put some videos up now so you can check that out, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.